What up, SnapBack fam? All right, I posted these power rankings for the NFL season. This is post free agency, even though free agency is still kind of going on, and pre NFL draft. And everyone said, we need to hear an explanation. So, without further ado, here is your explanation. Number one, my Baltimore Ravens, the baby goat, the MVP. But that's not even what I'm focused on. I'm focused on that top 5 defense that no one talks about. We get Tavon Young back from injury. We made some re-signings. We added Calais Campbell, Pro Bowl defensive lineman, and Michael Brockers. That team is built on the defense. It's built with the run game. And no, I am not worried at all about Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. But that's not what the power rankings are about. The power rankings are about the best team headed into the season, headed into the draft. And that's the Ravens in the AFC. Number 2, the Chiefs. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, he will carry them. But Super Bowl champions lose pieces. It's a known thing. The value of their players go down. And that's why I've dropped the Chiefs to number 2 as they close the season at number 1. Number 3, I never, ever, ever am I going to doubt Bill Belichick. But a big reason is look at the rest of the AFC. It's a lot of average teams, and I still think with that defense, the Patriots can dominate the division. They can pick up 5 wins in the division, which catapults them big time. So that's how I got them at number 3. Number 4, this is probably the biggest question mark on the board in the AFC, is the Chargers. How can a team that loses their quarterback be all the way up at number 4? I beg to remind you that rankings change. Like, think about last year. If I put the 49ers high up, you guys would have called me crazy. And they go all the way to the Super Bowl. So, the Chargers pick at number 4 is contingent on one thing and one thing only. It's they sign either Cam Newton or Jameis Winston. So, to rank them at number 4 right now today is probably a little aggressive. But I don't think they're just going to draft Justin Herbert because I don't think they want to play Herbert year 1. So is Cam Newton for a year or Jameis Winston for a year with all the talent, Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and the defense getting healthy enough to even challenge the Chiefs for the division? I think so myself. The Bills at number 5. Honestly, this could be high for them. Think about the Jags 2 years ago, a play away from the Super Bowl. Think about the Bears last year, a double doink away from the next round in the playoffs. These great defenses that don't expose or ask their quarterback to do too much. Now that there's 2 years of film on Josh Allen, which way does he head? Does he go up with Stephon Diggs and John Brown or down? This is a big year for them. That's why I only have him at 5, not winning the division. Number 6, the Colts. The Colts were solid with Brissett. Now they get Phillip Rivers. Now they have that team back, and everyone should be healthy again. I'm going to keep reiterating that. So when healthy, I think the Colts are a good football team. They have good defense. I think Rivers is a big-time upgrade. Not a great upgrade, but an upgrade enough to squeak out a few games. But that number 6 pick also has a lot to do with, I think, the AFC South plummets this year. I have the Titans all the way down at number 12. This is no hate, no salt, because they beat the Ravens in the playoffs. I think you give Ryan Tannehill $30 million, and you franchise tag, you're paying a running back $15 million a year. You're just not going to get it done. You got to build too many pieces with that. So I have the Colts up at 6. One of my sleeper teams this year is the Denver Broncos. They went 3-1 with Drew Lock. They made incredible moves outside of signing Melvin Gordon. I didn't love that move. But the rest of their moves, getting Boye and really patching up that defense, I think they could manage to get to 8-8, 9-7, albeit I project that division to be very tough. The next 2 teams, the Steelers at 8 and then the Texans at 9. These are 2 squads who I see the Steelers getting a little better with Ben, and then the Texans dropping off big time. They lost Nuke, but it has more to do with, I just feel like last year might have actually been the peak of what the Texans could be. Up 24-0 in Arrowhead. I think it's all downhill from there. The overhyped Browns are back. They finally signed an offensive lineman, so I think they will be much improved over last year. The question is, which Baker do we get? Do we get the turnover Baker year 2 or the really good Baker from year 1? That could literally catapult the Browns all the way into the top 5 or into the bottom 5. I put them right in the middle at 10. The Raiders. What do you say? Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, they have some pieces. I just think that division is way too tough, so I have the Raiders at 11. Like I said, Titans down at 12. Jets 13. I think Sam Darnold and the Jets could take a nice step forward, but go look at their schedule. It is absolutely brutal. That's why I have them much lower on the list. Dolphins improve. They get up to 14. Bengals with Burrow. Should be an exciting offense. AJ Green, Boyd, Mixon, but they just don't have any defense to stop anyone. And closing out the AFC, the tank for Lawrence, tank for Trev, Jacksonville Jaguars. Gardner Minshew, he was fun, man. The mustache is great, but let's be realistic. That team is not good. They got rid of all their pieces. So that is my AFC power rankings. Now, to the NFC. Number 1, the most complete team in the NFC year in and year out over the past 3 to 4 years is the New Orleans Saints. They add Emmanuel Sanders. I'm excited to see what they do in the draft. They have the defense. This is it. Breeze has won. I know he signed for another year, but I really think this is the year they have to get it done. Number 2 may come as a shock to a lot of you, but this is the season for Kirk Cousins to show out. They lost some pieces on defense. They lost Diggs. I still think because of that division, you'll see on my list, you see the Packers inching all the way down there at number 7. That's because I think Aaron Rodgers takes a step back. That defense had a great year, but I think you can expose it on the ground. I think the Vikings will dominate that division and get the number 2 spot. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady, what can I say? Godwin, Evans, Dare Ogunbowale. They are explosive with O.J. Howard and Bruce Arians calling the plays. You can't doubt the GOAT. He's the greatest quarterback of all time. And think about this. The Buccaneers had the number 1 rush defense, a top 5 defense last year. And Jameis Winston was great. He threw for a bunch of yards, and he threw a bunch of touchdowns. But turnovers in football are what determine games. He turned the ball over 30-plus times. Tom Brady will turn it over 10 times next year. And that 20 turnover difference, without a doubt, can get them into the playoffs, if not far in the playoffs. The Niners, I think, are built to last. I think they have a good team. They lost to Forrest Buckner, which hurts, but they are built to really just win games and chip off games, which is why I have them down at 4. I don't think they'll be a 1 seed in the NFC. And to be clear, this is my power rankings on who I think is the best. It's not necessarily predicting who makes the playoffs. So if you see your team at number 8, that doesn't mean they're out of it. So Niners at 4, I think they can still win the division, but look at number 5. It's the Los Angeles Rams, and I think they are going to compete with the Niners all season long. You know my distaste for the Seahawks. I think their luck has finally run out. You saw it in the playoffs. They just weren't as good as the Packers, who I didn't even think were that good. They got smoked by the Niners. So transitive property chain of events. The Seahawks, I think, actually missed the playoffs. It's tough to doubt Russell Wilson, but I think this is the year that their division too tough. Rams back with Jared Goff. I think they get the offseason. McVay helps them out, and we move on to a battle with those 2 teams. Plus the Cardinals. They should be decent. We'll talk about them in a second. The Cowboys, number 6. Another year of 10-6 that could win that division easy. I think we'll talk about the Eagles in a moment, but the Cowboys should be solid. I know they lose Frederick. They shouldn't have tagged Dak. They shouldn't have done a lot of things, but they still have the talent, and I think they can get it done and get into the playoffs. Number 7, the Pack. Rodgers down. Defense down. I'm just not a fan of what the Packers are going to do. And don't call me a Packer hater because I picked the Packers into the Super Bowl. I said that this would be their year. Last year, they went 13-3. They fall a game short. So my read on the Pack has been pretty solid. I didn't expect Rodgers to not be as good last year. That was the difference in getting them to the Super Bowl. Talked about the Seahawks. The Bears are kind of like the Browns in the AFC. They are that interesting team. 8-8 last year. Defense was stupendous, unbelievable, incredible. Offense was disgusting. Mitch Trubisky, yuck. Nick Foles in the fold. I think he wins a starting job. I believe that he can make a 2-game difference and maybe even pop them into the playoffs, maybe even jumping the Packers at some point in the power rankings during the course of next season. Down to number 10, it's the Eagles. And here are my genuine, honest thoughts on the Philadelphia Eagles. They're holding on to a roster that is falling apart. They are in win now mode, but let me be clear. They are in win now, but not win a championship now. And I think there's a big, big, big difference in those 2 teams. So a win now team means you can win a Super Bowl. You're a trade deadline move away. You're a free agent sign away. You're a draft pick away. I think the Eagles made all those moves to salvage a team and to try to keep the few years they have Carson Wentz locked up at quarterback to make the playoffs because they see their division and they know they can go and win it. But once they get in, they can't beat anyone. I don't care if McCown got hurt. They weren't going to Green Bay and winning that game, and they definitely weren't going to San Francisco and winning that game. So the Eagles, all the way down at number 10 for me. Panthers, Giants, Falcons. These next 3 are just interesting to a degree. They should be fun teams to watch. You get to watch Daniel Jones progress. You get to watch Teddy Bridgewater get a start, and you get to watch the Falcons have Todd Gurley, Julio Jones, Ridley, Matt Ryan. The Falcons go like this. Super Bowl, 6-10. NFC Championship, 4-12. They go up and down. This would technically be the up year, but I just don't see it. I'm too high on the Saints, and I really think the Bucs challenge in that division with Tom Brady. So I have the Falcons all the way down there. The Cardinals, I think they could be the most fun team in football next year, but they won't stop anyone. So you got to think complete roster. Nuke Hopkins, great player, will help with the offense. Christian Kirk and Larry Fitzgerald, but that's not how you win games in this league. You can score, but you got to get stops. We'll see. Maybe they build out their roster a little better, but I still have the Cardinals down 14, closing out 15-16. The Lions and the Redskins. Lions started decent last year, and then Stafford got hurt, and the Redskins are just a mess. Ron Rivera coming in. Hopefully he gets Haskins started, but that is where I see the entire NFL ranking out. All right, fam. I know you're going to hate me, but if you didn't make it to this point in the video, you don't have the right to comment. So if I'm commenting back at you, that means you didn't watch this part. Now, if you got to this far and you listened to everything I said about this doesn't mean playoff spots, this doesn't mean what last year, you can't forget that the Niners last year wouldn't have been anywhere close to the top of the power rankings, and they play in the Super Bowl. So keep an open mind. With that being said, let me know where I'm wrong. Let me know where I'm right. Snapback fam. Peace.